She laughed and said, "You're too plain for someone like me." I just smiled and said, "You're right. I'm not your type." Then I changed everything she said I couldn't. Months later, when she saw who was sitting next to me at her favorite restaurant, the look on her face was worth every second I stayed quiet. I'm Alex, 33, and I'd been dating Natalie for 2 years when she decided I wasn't enough for her anymore. We met at a friend's wedding, hit it off over shared complaints about the chicken being dry, and started dating a few weeks later. She was beautiful, confident, successful, a marketing director at a tech startup. I was doing okay for myself. Stable job in accounting, nice apartment, decent car. Nothing flashy, but solid. The breakup happened on a Tuesday night in April. We were at her place, watching some reality show she liked, when she muted the TV and turned to me with this serious expression. "Alex, we need to talk." Those 4 words. Never anything good after those 4 words. "Okay," I said, setting down my beer. "What's up?" "I don't think this is working anymore." I felt my stomach drop, but I kept my face neutral. "What do you mean?" She sighed like this conversation was exhausting her. "I mean, you're a nice guy. You really are. But you're just plain, predictable. You work your 9 to 5, come home, watch TV, go to the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You wear the same 5 outfits on rotation. You order the same thing at every restaurant we go to. I thought you liked that I was reliable." "Reliable is boring, Alex. I'm 31 years old. I want someone exciting, someone who challenges me, who takes risks, who has passion for something other than fantasy football and meal prep." I sat there processing this. 2 years. 2 years of planning weekend trips together, meeting each other's families, talking about moving in together. And apparently, the whole time she'd been keeping a running list of everything wrong with me. "Is there someone else?" I asked. "No," she said quickly, too quickly. "This isn't about someone else. This is about me realizing I'm settling for comfortable when I could have extraordinary." "Extraordinary," I repeated. "You know what I mean? You're safe. You're the guy women marry when they're ready to give up on excitement. But I'm not ready to give up yet." She laughed then. Actually laughed, like this whole thing was just a funny observation about my inadequacy instead of her ending our relationship. I stood up. "You're right," I said calmly. "I'm not your type." "Alex, don't be like that. This doesn't have to be dramatic." "It's not dramatic. You're completely right. You want extraordinary, and I'm plain. No hard feelings." I grabbed my jacket and left. She called after me, something about staying friends, but I didn't turn around. The drive home was quiet. I didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't punch my steering wheel. I just felt this weird sense of clarity. She'd shown me exactly what she thought of me, and now I knew. When I got home, I did something I hadn't done in years. I looked at myself in the mirror, really looked, and made a list of everything she'd said I couldn't be. Exciting, passionate, risky, extraordinary. I decided right then that I was going to become every single thing she said I wasn't. Not for her, for me, because I was tired of being plain. Update 1. The first thing I changed was my body. I'd been going to the gym twice a week for maintenance, doing the same routine I'd done since college. I hired a personal trainer named Marcus, who kicked my ass 6 days a week. Within 3 months, I'd lost 20 pounds and gained muscle definition I didn't know I could have. The second thing was my wardrobe. I went to an actual stylist, something I'd never done before, and let her rebuild my entire closet. Out went the khakis and polo shirts. In came fitted jeans, tailored blazers, shoes that cost more than my monthly gym membership. I looked like a different person. The third thing was taking actual risks. I'd always wanted to start my own financial consulting business, but had been too scared to leave my stable job. I spent 3 months building a business plan, networking, reaching out to potential clients. In August, I quit my job and went full-time on my own venture. It was terrifying. It was also the most alive I'd felt in years. I took up rock climbing, started learning Italian because I'd always wanted to visit Rome, went skydiving with my buddy James even though heights terrified me. I said yes to things I'd normally say no to, a last-minute road trip to the mountains, an improv comedy class, volunteering at a local animal shelter. I wasn't doing it to prove anything to Natalie. I was doing it because I realized she'd been right about one thing. I had been playing it safe for so long that I'd forgotten what it felt like to actually live. By September, I was a completely different person, physically, mentally, professionally. And the weirdest part? I was happy. Actually, genuinely happy in a way I hadn't been in years. That's when I met Claire. She came into a networking event I was attending for my new business. She was a lawyer, sharp as hell, with this quick wit that kept me on my toes. We talked for 2 hours about everything from contract law to our shared obsession with true crime podcasts. She gave me her card. I called her the next day. Our first date was at this small Italian place downtown. Not the chain restaurants I'd always defaulted to with Natalie, but a real authentic spot where the owner's grandmother still made the pasta. Claire spoke passable Italian with the waiter. I impressed her by ordering in Italian too, stumbling through it but making her laugh. "You're full of surprises," she said. "I'm working on it," I replied. By October, Claire and I were official. She was everything Natalie had claimed to want: adventurous, spontaneous, passionate about her work. But unlike Natalie, Claire actually appreciated the stability I could offer too. She didn't see reliable as a personality flaw. "I like that you show up when you say you will," she told me once. "I like that you actually listen when I talk. My ex used to talk over me constantly, always had to be the center of attention. This is refreshing." I told her about Natalie one night over wine at her place, the whole story, how she'd called me plain, how it had gutted me, how I'd used it as motivation to change. "She's an idiot," Claire said bluntly. "You're not plain. You're thoughtful and kind and funny, and honestly, the fact that you took what she said and used it to grow instead of getting bitter? That's pretty extraordinary." I kissed her. She kissed me back. It was the kind of moment that makes you grateful for the heartbreak that led you there. Update 2. November brought an interesting development. My business was doing well. Better than well, actually. I'd picked up 3 major clients and was in talks with a 4th. I'd hired an assistant and was looking at office space. The risk had paid off. James called me one Sunday morning. "Dude, guess who I ran into last night at Murphy's?" "Who?" "Natalie. She was asking about you." I felt a small twist in my stomach. "What did she ask?" "How you were doing, if you were seeing anyone, if you were still in accounting. I told her you'd started your own business and were doing great." She seemed surprised. "Huh. Yeah." She also looked, I don't know, not great. Like she'd lost weight but in a stressed out way, not a healthy way. Asked me to tell you to call her sometime. I'm not doing that. I told her you were seeing someone. She definitely didn't like that. I thought about it for maybe 30 seconds, then went back to planning my upcoming trip to Italy with Claire. Natalie was a closed chapter, but apparently, Natalie didn't see it that way. She showed up at my apartment building 3 days later. The doorman called up to ask if I wanted to let her in. I almost said no, but curiosity got the better of me. "Alex," she said when I opened the door. She looked different, thinner like James said, hair shorter, wearing workout clothes like she'd just come from a class. "Thanks for seeing me." "What do you want, Natalie?" "I wanted to talk. To apologize. Can I come in?" I didn't move from the doorway. "You can apologize from there." She looked hurt. "Good. I was wrong about you. What I said when we broke up, it was cruel and unfair. I've been thinking about it a lot and I realized I made a huge mistake." "Okay." "Okay?" She seemed thrown off by my non-reaction. That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say? Thank you for the apology. You're forgiven. We're good now. I want you to hear me out. I've been miserable since we broke up. I dated a few guys and they were all terrible, self-absorbed or commitment phobic or just not right. And I kept thinking about you, about us, about what we had. What we had was you thinking I wasn't good enough for you. I was wrong, she insisted. I was scared of commitment and I blamed you for it. But you were exactly what I needed. You are exactly what I need. Past tense, Natalie. What we had. James said you're seeing someone. I am. Is it serious? That's none of your business. She looked at me with tears starting to form. I'd seen her cry before. It used to break me. Now I just felt nothing. Alex, please. Can we at least have coffee? Just talk? No, I don't think that's a good idea. Because of her? Because of me. Because I'm finally happy and I'm not interested in revisiting something that made me feel like I wasn't enough. You are enough, more than enough. I see that now. I'm glad you see it. But I've moved on. She stood there for another moment, clearly hoping I'd change my mind. When I didn't, she nodded slowly. Okay, I understand. But if things don't work out with whoever she is, will you call me? No. Alex, Natalie, you told me I was too plain for someone like you. You laughed about it. I'm not going to be your backup plan now that your search for extraordinary didn't work out. I deserve better than that. I closed the door. I heard her standing there for a minute, then heard her footsteps walking away. Update 3. December rolled around. Claire and I had been together for 3 months, and it felt like 3 years in the best way. Easy, comfortable, but never boring. She challenged me, supported my business, made me laugh until my sides hurt. For her birthday, I made reservations at this upscale Italian restaurant she'd been wanting to try. Marcello's, a place downtown that required reservations months in advance. I'd called in August, before we'd even met, because I'd been planning to take myself as a celebration when my business hit its first major milestone. Seemed fitting to share it with her instead. We were seated at a corner table with a great view of the restaurant. Claire looked beautiful in a dark blue dress, hair up, eyes bright with happiness. We ordered wine, appetizers, were in the middle of laughing about something that happened at her office when I saw her. Natalie. She walked in with a guy, tall, flashy suit, expensive watch, the kind of guy who looks like he peaked in college and is desperately trying to recreate it. They were seated 3 tables away from us, almost directly in my line of sight. I froze. Claire noticed immediately. What's wrong? Don't look now, but my ex just walked in. The one who called you plain? That's the one. Claire glanced over casually, then back at me. Interesting. She keeps staring at you. She does? Yeah, very much so. Oh, now she's staring at me. Should I wave? I laughed despite myself. Please don't. Want to leave? No, I said, surprising myself. No, I want to stay. I want to enjoy this dinner with you. That's my guy. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. We went back to our conversation, our meal, our laughter. I was very aware of Natalie watching us, but I didn't care. I was too busy enjoying Claire's company. Halfway through our main course, Natalie got up. I thought she was going to the bathroom, but she walked straight to our table. Alex, she said. Hi. I looked up slowly, like I'd just noticed her. Natalie. Hey. I didn't know you came here. First time, actually. Claire's birthday. I watched Natalie's eyes flick to Claire doing the calculation. Claire extended her hand. Hi, I'm Claire. You must be Natalie. Natalie shook her hand limply. Alex mentioned me? Once or twice, Claire said cheerfully. All good things. I almost laughed at the smooth lie. You look different, Natalie said to me. Really different. Thanks. I mean it. You look great. successful, happy. I am happy. Awkward silence. Natalie's date was watching from their table, looking confused. Well, Natalie said finally, I should get back. It was nice meeting you, Claire. Likewise. Natalie walked back to her table. I saw her say something to her date, who shrugged. Claire leaned forward with a grin. So that's her. That's her. She looked like she wanted to crawl under the table. Did she? Oh yeah, the look on her face when she saw us together? Priceless. And when she realized you didn't care? Even better. I genuinely don't care anymore, I said. That's the weird part. I thought I'd feel something. Anger, satisfaction, something. But I just feel indifferent. That's because you're over it. You've moved on. I really have. Claire raised her wine glass. To moving on. And to you being extraordinary. I clinked my glass against hers. To us. The rest of dinner was perfect. Natalie left before we did, not bothering to say goodbye. I caught her looking back once as they walked out. I didn't acknowledge it. Final update. It's been 6 months since that night at Marcello's. Claire and I are still together talking about moving in together this spring. My business has grown to the point where I'm hiring 2 more people. I took that trip to Rome I'd always wanted, and Claire came with me. We ate pasta in tiny restaurants, got lost in ancient ruins, laughed until we cried at our terrible attempts to haggle at markets. I ran into Natalie one more time, completely by accident, at a coffee shop in March. She was alone, working on her laptop. She saw me, waved tentatively. I walked over. Hey, I said. Hey, how are you? Good. Really good. You? I'm okay. Work's busy. She paused. You're still with Claire? I am. She seems nice. She is. Another pause. I think about you sometimes. About what I said when we broke up. Natalie, I know you've moved on. I just wanted you to know that I see it now, what I had with you. I didn't appreciate it then, but I do now. I appreciate you saying that, I said honestly, but I'm happy where I am. I know, I can see that. She smiled sadly. You were never plain, Alex. I was just too stupid to see it. I wasn't extraordinary then. But I am now. Not because I changed who I was, but because I finally became who I was supposed to be. She nodded. Well, whoever she is, she's lucky. I'm the lucky one. I meant it. Every word. I got my coffee and left. Natalie went back to her laptop. That was the last time we spoke. Claire asked me that night if seeing Natalie still bothered me. No, I said. It doesn't. She was right about one thing. I was playing it safe, being comfortable instead of really living. She just went about saying it in the worst possible way. And now? Now I'm exactly where I want to be. With someone who sees me for who I am and loves me anyway. Someone who thinks stability and adventure aren't mutually exclusive. Damn right they're not, Claire said, kissing me. Now come on, extraordinary man. We've got a life to live. Edit 1. A lot of people are asking if changing myself for an ex was healthy. I didn't change myself for her. I changed because her words made me realize I'd been sleepwalking through life. The improvements were for me. Meeting Claire was just a bonus. Edit 2. Natalie's last message to me was actually a few weeks ago. She reached out to congratulate me on a business feature in a local magazine. I thanked her politely and didn't continue the conversation. Some chapters need to stay closed. Edit 3. For anyone wondering, yes, Claire knows the whole story. She thinks it's hilarious that Natalie called me plain. She says I'm the least plain person she knows, and that's coming from someone who once dated a professional magician.